Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Business, Finance, and Justice Committee budget hearing. Today is Tuesday, August 29th, 2023, and the time is 1:12. I call this meeting to order. Invocation. Representative Randall Hicks, you provide that, please.
Thank you, Creator, for this day that you bless us with. Lord, I ask that you just be with us today as we go over the budget hearings. I ask that you open up our minds and our hearts and let us do with the best that our nation needs, that our citizens need. Lord, we just ask that you touch the ones that need some healing today or just some comfort, Lord. We ask that you be with each and every one. But most of all, Lord, I ask that you just be with us in this building. Again, let us do the best of the nation. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Representative Hicks. Roll call, Legislative Clerk April Lindsay.
Patrick Freeman,
Here.
Sandra Golden,
Present.
Randall Hicks,
Present.
Thomasine Yohola Osborne,
Present.
Mark Randolph.
Present.
Madam Chair, you have 5 present and 0 absent.
We have 5 present and 0 absent. This constitutes a quorum. All business conducted will be valid. Next item on the agenda is approval of minutes. There is none. On to the order of business. First one we have is Department of Justice. Good afternoon, ladies. If you'll present your budget and any changes, we'd appreciate it. Thank you.
You guys have a copy of it? You guys already have a copy of everything. Just go live and by line.
However you want to present your budget.
Okay, so we have our budget for the Attorney General's office.
Ma'am, can you speak up into the microphone?
Right, we have our budget for the Attorney General's office. However, I think that mine. Sorry about that.
Don't be nervous. Don't be nervous. We're just here.
I'll try. So we are requesting an increase of a little over $2 million. Most of that is in the salary and wages line and fringe. We are requesting an increase in staff to keep up with the growth from McGirt, Hooper, the needs within the tribe for review, contract review, as well as the increase in litigation cases. So we're asking for 2 civil attorneys, 4 new prosecutors for criminal and domestic violence, another family prosecutor, a paralegal for civil, another records clerk, 3 more legal clerks, 2 office clerks, and promoting 2 of our legal clerks to leads so that they can supervise the other legal clerks. Additionally, we are asking for an increase in travel this year because with the staff, and we are getting some new attorneys and wanting to send them to training and make sure that they have all the information they need to best represent our nation. And then we previously had a grant to implement our paperless system, and we need to add a software and license item to our budget that we didn't have last year because our grant ends in September and it was solely for implementation. Now we need to that going moving forward. You guys have any questions about any of the budget?
You talked about
Madam Chair?
increasing staff. Where do you all plan on putting them? Because I know there seems to be a shortage of space.
We are doubling up in offices and sitting very close to each other at this point.
Okay. Representative Freeman, do you have a question?
Yeah, I'm trying to find this particular budget. Which, is it the Attorney General's budget or?
Yes, Patrick, it's in those updates I had to send you in an email. Yes, it's AG's
Oh,
gaming budget.
okay, because I was right at the moment, but I'll just listen along here for a minute while I get caught up here.
Okay, thank you. Representative Golden, do you have any questions?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I have a question about in your current salary and your proposed salary. Most everybody, it looks like there's an increase based on cost of living, maybe? Is that what that is? For example, your assistant attorney general, 86,320 is the current salary, and then they move up to 88. So I was just, some of them are a little bit different, some are less and some are more. And I
That
was
is-
the rationale for that.
At the old.
That is not the same, that is not the budget that we're working off of. There was some confusion when we initially submitted our budget, and that's actually last year's budget that you're looking at. This would be in the updated version. This would be in the updated version, because that is an outdated budget.
And Ms. Golden, did you get the email that April sent out earlier regarding the changes to the budget? We're not looking at the paper one. Yeah, disregard the binder.
Thank you. I guess I don't have anything in front of me then.
Thank you. To check your email.
So does
Did you-
this?
Oh,
so
Representative
the
Freeman, go
changes-
ahead.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair. Yeah, so the changes are, is it through a whole bond? Just the budget?
Representative Freeman,
I mean,
can you
all the
repeat
budgets-
that? You were cutting in and out.
So all the budgets that we have in the binder are not updated, basically? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yes, they have been. And it's in an email April sent to you earlier.
Okay, I'm trying to pull it up right now. Thanks.
Thank you. Committee, any questions? Representative Hicks?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I didn't catch your name in the first. What was your name?
Olivia Lombard.
Olivia.
Olivia Lombard.
You mentioned that you increased the travel budget, correct?
Correct.
And the reason was for trainings?
Yes.
Yet in your training line item, you have zero amount. So we're increasing travel for training, yet there's no amount of money in training. Can you justify or clarify?
So in our budget, we have most of our trainings require travel. So the fees for the trainings are included in the travel budget instead of on the training line item. Because when I submit it for payment to the travel department, that's the line they pull it out of.
So the trainings included in the travel.
Right, because they're not local trainings. Most of them are conferences that are throughout the United States.
And then the contractual. That increased about what? 80,000?
Yes, that was due to an increase in costs for, had to do with, contracted services for some of the litigation that we've had this year.
I guess that's my question. Why are we contracting other attorneys to do what I feel like our attorneys should be doing?
With respect to the contracted litigation, there are extensive, we have a lot of civil litigation that involves outside attorneys to be able to assist with this, who specialize in specific litigation. For example, contract or construction litigation. And the type of experience that they have and can provide is better suited as a contractual basis rather than having to pay that type of specialty being in-house.
Thank you. I know Ms. Golden asked a question about the salaries. The only question I have is, why is there only 3 that actually got a salary increase?
So we had 2 of our, family prosecutors have been with the nation for about 10 years, and they just were not being paid as much as when we were hiring in people. And if they had come in and interviewed for these positions with their experience that they have, we would have offered them a significantly higher salary. And so it was just bringing them up to,
The prosecutors?
yes, our family prosecutors.
Okay, the one I'm looking at is legal clerk and a lead clerk. So what you're speaking of is not even on my paper that I have.
Legal clerk and lead legal clerk?
Lead legal clerk, and of course, the attorney general. Those are the only 3 on my sheet of paper that shows a pay increase.
One of them wasn't one of the lead legal clerks was not previously a lead. I'm changing that position from being a regular legal clerk to a lead legal clerk, for our family division, because right now there's only one and we are bringing on more staff. And so she will be in a supervisory role over the new staff. And then
That's fine. If you can't find it, that's fine. But it alludes to the question now. You were speaking about the prosecutors getting the increase, yet it's not on mine. So are we looking at 2 different things? Because I don't want to prove something that you have different.
right, okay, so what we did, we didn't put it in that way because of okay. So right here are the positions, these 2 that aren't the new one are the positions that got the increase. It's not on here because we took off all of the raises because of the discussion about the 4%. So we took off all of the raises, but that one was separate from the 4% because we wanted to bring them up to a comparable wage compared to the other prosecutors. And so I left those in because I didn't want it to get bumped off as and done and do a 4%. to get.
I'm sorry. I didn't.
One more time. Okay. So the reason that's in there that way is because there was discussion of the 4% raise instead of, and not putting in any raises. And so I didn't want that to get confused and not put in because it was increasing their pay for a separate reason, not a cost of living. And so I left that in there that way. That's why it says that they're already at 95, but they aren't.
Okay, I'm getting confused. Where's the 4%?
There's not, there was a discussion about not putting any raises in because there was a potential for there to be a 4%. And so to leave that off, I didn't want that to get put in.
Madam Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
the 4% is what the tribe has agreed on for raises for all employees. So if you look at the bottom of the Schedule A's, you'll see the 6 days and 4% included on there.
We don't have a schedule.
Representative Hicks, do you still have a question?
I'm thoroughly confused, to be honest with you now.
Madam Chair,
So we have.
Representative Golden, hold on just a second.
So we have the 4% that's already included, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So the 3 positions that are showing an increase in salary, they get the increase plus 4% as well?
No, they're not in that math.
They're given a raise by their director, then they don't qualify for the 4%. You can't have both, the way that we discussed it. They shouldn't get both. So if they get a raise more than what 4% should have been, then they won't be included on the 4% amount at the bottom.
So the legal clerk. 35,875. Actually got a decrease.
That one's a typo. It's not a decrease. They're going to be at,
So what would
they
be-
are at 35,859 right now. That's a typo.
So the proposed is the current,
Yes.
and then the current will be the proposed, or what would be the proposed?
The proposed would be where they're at plus the 4% that's factored in at the bottom.
Thank you. Thank you.
Representative Golden?
yes, thank you. I was kind of trying to understand what Representative Hicks was saying, because it does appear that some of these got the raises, and it doesn't, you don't know if it's 4%, but you don't know why. And it feels unfair because you're picking and choosing who gets a raise and who only gets the 4%. So those that are getting the raises that's on here, what percent is that? And how did you come up with that?
So the lead legal clerk that is getting the raise is not currently a lead legal clerk. Right now, they are just a regular legal clerk. So that's why they are getting a raise that's slightly bigger than 4%, because they're getting a promotion to a position that doesn't exist as of. As far as the 2 attorneys or the 2 prosecutors that are getting the raise, which is not reflected on here, but they are getting a raise because we are bringing their salaries up to match the salaries of new hires and to stay competitive and retain employees. And then the AG increase was determined by chief for that. So, but other than that, everybody else is getting the 4%. Unless they're a new hire and unless it's a new position.
So these positions were based on performance? The increase in salary was based on performance?
Yes.
And only certain people got the raises? I'm sorry, I'm just
If they-
concerned. I'm just concerned that, again, it's picking and choosing who gets raises and who doesn't. And it just doesn't, it seems unfair. And, you know, to me, I think there's one page missing in here, and that is your justification. You're telling us what it is, but we don't see it. And I have difficulty with that. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Representative. Is there anyone else who wants to speak on this? Oh, Chief Hill?
That money that's in there, 4%, that's 4% over the whole budget. Now, they're allowed up to 4% depending on their evaluation. You know, if they're just doing what they're expected to do, they may get a 3%. But if you have those that's going above and beyond, you know, they may get a 5. But overall, it's 4% total of what the budget is. That's what's set aside for all employees. But it's also based on their evaluation that they'll get on their performance, is how much they'll get. I mean, it's not 4% overall. Could get that, some department, but it's based on evaluation. But you can get up to 4%. It may be 1%. You know, if they need some work or more training, and that's going to be based on the manager's decision when they do their evaluation. You may have some get 1, 2, 3%, but it's up to 4%. So I just want to make that clear. It's not 4% across the board that each one will get. It's up to 4, but based on their evaluation on their performance, their attendance, quality of work, everything like that.
Representative Golden, was that helpful?
No.
What do you not understand about that?
It still appears that it's picking and choosing and you know, up to 4%. Again, like I said, we don't have we hear you saying it, but we don't see it. Or I'm just going to say because you do that in a justification. We don't have to know what the scores are, but when I thought that we approved a 4% raise across the board for everybody. And it just doesn't seem that it's being applied to this one.
Now I'm confused. But it's hard to do it 4% across the board. When it was done last time, you got your federally funded, they had to get approval first. So that's have to get their approval so they can be included, get a raise for next year. And I think all of them's already communicated that with their coordinators, their grant coordinators, that they're allowed to give them raises this year. Now, I think the way I understood those that Representative Hicks asked a question on, those who got a raise, you know, we had some that are way below and those that were been here 5, 10 years. I don't think they ever received a raise, if I'm correct. So they're trying to bring those 3 up. But those that we're hiring now, we probably didn't hire those 3 at that term. They may have been hired at $10 an hour, but the way they're hiring them now, probably 13 or 14. And I'm just using that for an example. So they're trying to bring those 3 up to where they should be. But that 4% overall is for the whole department. It'll be determined by the AG or whoever does the evaluation on those individuals, what they should get, 1, 2, 3, or 4. Some may get 5. You know, I'm just throwing that out for example. But
So
hopefully that answers your question on the 3.
So will this
They may do the evaluation in June, July, mid-year. I mean, that's what I plan to do. Once it's, if it's approved, I'll evaluate them around June. That way you give them 6 months. If there's any correction or anything, any training, you give them that training within the next 6 months to see how they're gonna do next year.
So their job performance will determine what percentage they get on increase.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so is this gonna be on every budget?
Yes.
Okay, so
I
we're
don't
gonna have,
think, I attended the last hearing and I don't think they explained it that well, but this is overall in the nation.
okay, so we'll have to make sure that we all understand this because this is only the first budget. Representative Hicks?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think I understand now. So the current and the proposed is only reflecting without the 4%. And the 4% that they're asking for, that total amount is what they're asking for. But when they do the evaluations, it can range anywhere from 1% to 4%. But all they're asking for is the funding for the 4% overall. That's what they're asking.
It's kind of like a
I
bucket
understand
over
now.
here.
Okay. Got you. Thank you.
Any other questions from the committee? Any questions from representatives online or in attendance? Okay, hearing none.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the budget as presented.
We have a motion from Representative Hicks to approve the budget as presented. We have a second from Representative Randolph. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please. I'm sorry.
Services with them.
Gosh, I got excited. I thought we got past that. Legal services. We have to pass them individually or as a whole? As a whole. Okay,
So do I need to rescind my motion?
rescind it, please. We
Make a
res-
motion to rescind my motion.
Okay, Representative Hicks makes a motion to rescind. Representative Mark Randolph makes a second. Okay. Legal services.
There aren't any changes from last year.
No changes from last year. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair,
Representative Golden?
these legal services, are those the ones that took over, the realty took them over to provide legal services with the, probates? What's the difference, I guess?
Yes, so we split the program basically in half. They took probates and then we still do guardianships, wills if they don't involve trust property, and power of attorney for our citizens, as well as any cases that we already had ongoing before it went over to realty. We're still paying those attorneys that we've contracted because they've already been assigned to an attorney and we don't want to duplicate work and have to start all over with those people. So we're still paying out on previous probates that we had assigned out of the AG's office.
So you're saying there's no changes in the amounts, but they're doing part of the work, and so you split them, but you're not splitting the money.
Correct. There's been an increase in cases and paying on the backlog of them. It's still going to cost us potentially the same amount of money this year as those other cases close. If there's not an increase in the future, we can come back and ask for less next time. But this year, I anticipate we'll still use a large portion of it.
So I guess I'm trying to understand, they're doing part of the work, so you're paying for when they're doing the work, you're paying for those contracted attorneys out of your budget, or are they putting it in their budget? They've got additional monies in their budget.
Representative Golden, they are handling their own budget. This budget is for ours, which will continue with the guardianships, power of attorneys, and other matters that stayed within the Attorney General's office. Those matters that have moved to the Realty office would be reflected upon their budget. Based on the increase of guardianships and other matters that are handled under the contractual line, we would ask that it remain at that same amount. we also are continuing until the cases close or are completed with those contracts that we are already under.
Representative Golden? Are you good?
Yeah, I understand that part. So what my question is, isn't being answered, but that's okay. I'll look at the realty when they bring it forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Committee, are there any questions?
April, do you want to tell them about the child support budget coming forth in legislation?
The child support will not be on review for today for the hearing because it's going to have to go up for legislation because it's a new award. They don't have their actual award documents in yet. And then the tribe will have to see if they can do the match as well when they get that new award.
Thank you. Is there any questions regarding legal services? Okay, and we heard about child support. Are there any other questions from the committee? Any questions from the representatives online or in attendance? Okay, hearing none.
Madam Chair. I'd like to make a motion to approve the Office of Justice and Legal Services budget as presented.
We have a motion from Representative Hicks to approve the budget from Department of Justice, which includes Office of Justice and Legal Services. We have a second from Representative Randolph. Discussion? Is there any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Randall Hicks,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Patrick Freeman,
Yes.
Andrew Golden.
No.
Madam Chair, you got 3 in favor and 1 against.
We have 3 in favor, 1 against. The Department of Justice budget has been approved. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is a legislative branch. National Council. Thank you, Speaker Lowe. Are there any questions regarding the budget?
I didn't hear Speaker Lowe.
Did I start from the beginning? Sorry about that, Representative Golden. I didn't realize the microphone wasn't on. I was speaking loud enough.
Do you want him to go over it again, Representative Golden?
No, that's okay. I don't think I have any questions.
Okay. Any questions? I think I have one, Speaker Lowe.
Yes, ma'am.
As far as the representatives go, is there like a limit for each representative as far as travel?
There is. We haven't actually broke it down and given everybody their actual limit, but Tracy keeps that kind of into her own little budgeting process. So when people get close and they say, hey, can I go to this and that? Then we let them know, hey, you only have 1,500 left. Probably not, you usually go to this, so you may not want to try to attend that. But I mean, we can get that out to everybody. If everybody wanted to keep their own personal travel account, then by all means. But yeah, she does keep that in-house. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Representative Hicks?
Speaker Lowe, do you think the donations and contributions of the 25,000, you think that's enough, or do you?
I think
More?
it should be more, but without pushing it, I think 25 would get us a good starting point this time to see how next year goes. And maybe the following year, maybe increase it, sir.
I agree with you. We need a seat at the table at these functions, because I was speaking to Representative Harjo. I think it was Tulsa Chamber or somewhere. I can't remember where it was, but we need to start being present at these functions. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any more questions? Any questions from the representatives in attendance or online? Okay, hearing none.
Madam Chair, I make that motion to approve the National Council budget.
We have a motion from Representative Hicks to approve the budget for the legislative branch. We have a second from Representative Randolph. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Randall Hicks,
Yes.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Patrick Freeman,
Yes.
Andrew Golden.
Yes,
Madam Chair, you got 4 in favor and 0 against.
We have 4 in favor, 0 against. The budget for the legislative branch, National Council is approved. Thank you,
Madam
Speaker.
Chair. Yes, ma'am.
Next item on the agenda is the judicial branch, District Court.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, I want to thank the committee for allowing us the opportunity to submit our budget here today. And I especially want to thank the National Council for supporting the courts through this increased jurisdiction that we're facing with the McGirt case. Our business has increased tenfold, and we appreciate all the support we've received on that. Our budget is the same as it was last year. There are no changes, and anything else to say?
Are there any questions? Representative Hicks?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Wiley, on the Schedule A for the third deputy court clerk,
Yes.
that okay, never mind. That was my mistake. I looked at it wrong. I have no questions.
Any questions from the committee? Representative Golden? Representative Freeman?
No, I'm good.
Representative Golden?
no questions. Thank you.
Representative Randolph?
I'll make a motion to approve the district court's budget.
We have a motion from Representative Randolph to approve the district court's budget.
Second.
We have a second from Representative Hicks. Discussion? Any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Patrick Freeman,
Yes.
Andrew Golden,
Yes,
Randall Hicks.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you got 4 in favor and 0 against.
We have 4 in favor, 0 against. The budget for district court has been approved on the
Ditto.
Supreme Court.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Connie Dearman here. I'm the court clerk for the Supreme Court. And our Chief Justice LeBlanc sends his regards for not being able to attend. He had a prior court hearing he had to deal with today.
And before we get started, can you speak up? You might want to bring that microphone down. Thank you.
Okay, is that better?
That's better.
Our budget has increased a little bit this year. On our salary line item, we have added a security personnel that we feel we may need for this coming year to enhance our security here in the building. And I think everything else has stayed the same except for our contractual line item. We increased that 100,000 this year because of our ongoing cases that are in the federal court. We've just about expended those to date right now. So we thought we better increase those. And the other line item was library maintenance. We had to increase that from 7,500 to 26,300, and that's due to our Westlaw account. We were splitting that with the district court, and we now have that, which is about 3,000 a month. We'd have increased our communications from 20,000 to 25,000, and I believe everything else has stayed the same. Do you have any questions for me?
Is there any questions? Representative Randolph?
Could you just quickly explain the increases of salaries?
Yes, actually, the salaries have all stayed the same. Excuse me. We have added a security officer, which is a new position, and that would be the only increase this year in our salaries.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions? Representative Golden, Representative Freeman, any questions?
No, I'm good.
No
Representative
questions.
Golden.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the Supreme Court budget.
We have a motion from Representative Randolph to approve the Supreme Court budget.
Second.
We have a second from Representative Hicks. Discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Mark Randolph,
Yes.
Patrick Freeman,
Yes.
Andrew Golden,
Yes.
Randall Hicks.
Yes.
Madam Chair, you got 4 in favor and 0 against.
We have 4 in favor, 0 against. The budget for Supreme Court has been approved. Thank you.